What's going on, everybody? Average Arcader here, and I am joined once again by my good friend, the Redstone Scientist. How you doing, Redstone?
Who said that? Can't see anything. The cat keeps falling over my eyes. That's okay. I can just go by the sound of your voice. I'm gonna say that's Average Arcader. Hi.
Yes. Thank you for joining me for this little interview about this wonderful map. I was very, very excited when I started exploring this. Like I said on my current Let's Play series, I think it's been over 20 years since I've been to this park. So, you know, it was kind of going back down memory lane / wow, I don't remember this type thing. So it's very exciting. You guys did a lot of work here, I can see. But before we get started, why don't you tell those who do not know who you are?
I am the Redstone Scientist. I am the creative director and project manager at Everbloom Games, and I was the creative director on this project, and I led the development team.
Very nice. As you guys know, if you are fans of my channel, I am a big fan of Everbloom Games. I think they're one of the top studios on the marketplace. They do an insane amount of detail, but I just love the amount of effort they put in to their add-ons, games, and maps, strictly with just the designs of their worlds and their stories they love to tell. I think they're one of the perfect people to do a theme park, and I hope to see more theme parks from them just from the insane amount of detail they put in. But let's go ahead and start talking about this awesome map. Starting with, how long did it take you guys to put this together?
So we started planning in March, and then we finished main development in mid-October and continued making tweaks until release. So it took only about seven months.
Only 7 months? Wow.
Yeah, it was a colossal effort. 29 people on our team worked on this.
Wow. So did you guys actually go to the actual theme park and whatnot and work with them?
No, unfortunately, we would have were it not for COVID. But, you know, we're also all over the world, and I don't think they would have paid for our flights or anything. So, yeah, we didn't get to go. A lot of us have been, but also a lot of us haven't been. For one reason or other, whether, you know, for some people it's on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have our concept artist and park expert on this project, SP Ridley, has wanted to be an Imagineer his whole life, and he knows everything about Disney. He's watched all these Disney documentaries about the parks and everything, and he already had, like, you know, 100 gigabytes of reference material before this project that we were able to make use of. Yeah, so that was great. So he sort of fact-checked everything for us.
Okay, so that will bring me to my next question. So is this an actual one-to-one scale, or is it just close to that?
Yep, it's completely one-to-one, with the exception of the castle. It's a little bit bigger just to make it look a little nicer. And maybe one or two other things that are slightly bigger or smaller, but it's one-to-one. But we've replaced, for the rides we didn't do, we've removed any signage and like tried to remove evidence that a ride was there.
Okay. How many rides weren't you able to do?
More than I would like. Like, I would have loved to have done the Carousel of Progress, Splash Mountain, the People Mover, the Railroad, Barnstormer, the Little Mermaid ride, the Winnie the Pooh ride, Mickey's PhilharMagic. I would have loved to have done those, but unfortunately it was just out of scope. Didn't have time for that.
I was just about to ask that. You ran out. It probably was you ran out of time and couldn't put them in.
Time, money, yeah.
I get you. It's the woes of development. Sometimes you have to, you know, make some cuts. But you've got a lot here still.
We knew we weren't going to be able to do everything from the beginning, and we told Disney, you know, like, this is... We sort of categorized things in, like, these are the big five or whatever. And that was, like, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, Little Mermaid, Winnie the Pooh, and Peter Pan. And we said, basically, we can do, like, 3 of these. And you have to pick which ones you want us to do. And so, and Little Mermaid was just, it relies too much on curves. It was too difficult to do.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh, everything was so particularly placed. We would have had to model every room individually, and it just wasn't worth it. Splash Mountain, we skipped for a number of reasons. We actually planned to do it for a long time, but it ended up getting cut because they're refurbishing it, sensitivity reasons, and also just like, yeah, we didn't have time.
Understandable. I mean, like you said, it is what it is, but you still have a lot here. I mean, like you said, you have the rest of the park. When I started to play through, I'm like, wow, I think this is a 1-to-1 scale, especially when I looked at the map. And I think my biggest...
So a lot of people, interestingly, look at the map and say, oh, this is the actual map. It's not the actual map. It's done by hand. It's a custom map that is made so that it doesn't look like we're missing anything. It's all done by hand. It actually has more detail than the map in the real park does, but it's based on the real park map.
Yeah, I thought it was close. When I looked at it, I'm like, this is close to the real thing. I could tell there were some things missing. That's why I had the question. I'm like, I think this is 1-to-1 scale, but I said, I think there's some stuff missing. I just couldn't tell what, because I haven't been to the park in a long time. But still good. So where did you guys get the idea to add all the different hats and the clothing options? Are these all based on real things you can buy at the park?
Yeah, so we knew it was going to be important that, a big part of the Disney experience is shopping. And so, this was meant to be a 50th anniversary promotion. And so, part of that was we had to have 50th anniversary merch. We have some of that. But sort of the question was, how much do we want to be 50th anniversary and how much do we want to be like the normal stuff, because we want this to be timeless, right? The castle, you might notice the castle is actually, this is what it looks like now. They did a refresh on the castle colors. They repainted it for the 50th anniversary. So this is what it looks like now. But yeah, we basically said, look, there are only so many wearable items that we can have in Minecraft just due to limitations, right? We had to retexture, like the yellow jersey is an elytra, so like there's a bug where you can fly if you're wearing that, which is not supposed to happen. But there are only so many of those things we can do. There are only so many hats we can do, and so we actually had to cut one of the hats because we had one too many. But basically, they helped us figure out which ones we wanted to do. We had references, lots of back and forth with Disney, sending them the concepts for it, and then they would ask for a tweak to the texture, or the model, or whatever.
So you guys did work directly with Disney then?
Yeah, so we worked with a small team at Disney Games, and they were the ones who reached out to ask for the thing to be done. And so we worked with them. We got a lot of help on audio from them, as well as every single asset had to be reviewed, every single ride, everything had to be reviewed by Disney Games and also by the team at Disney Parks, which we didn't work with directly, but Disney Games was our go-between there. And it was tough. There are a lot of things, especially at Disney Parks, a lot of things that are very meaningful to people there. And we can't include everything. So it was difficult figuring out what to include and what not to include.
I can get that. So whose idea was it for the autograph book and the going around to the different characters?
Oh, I don't know. I think I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not going to guess. But basically the idea was, originally Disney was like, well, we want something like more substantial to like get you around the park, to like gamify it somehow. And we were like, well, actually, maybe if we were selling this as as a standalone game, we would need that. But just sort of the nature of Minecraft, right? You can sell something that is just an exploration-based piece of content, right? You don't have to have something gamified. But we said we agree that having something that could progress you and sort of, push you through the park experience would be nice. Something to get you to explore everywhere. So we came up with the idea of the autographs. And we knew the characters were going to be there, you know, like it is in real life. But the idea of just having the autograph book be the thing that takes you around, we played with the idea of, you know, like in Haunted Park or Rainbow Park, are we going to have ride tokens? Maybe you'll get some sort of currency and you can use that to purchase merch with. But ultimately, it was like, that's not what people really want from a Disney experience, right? One of the reasons in the real Disney park, you know, they give you a wristband to buy things with, so you don't have to carry around cash or card or anything.
Oh, so that's why there's no money in it.
Well, that's not why, but the point is that we played with the idea of maybe it would like give you credit on your wristband or something.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd have a wristband item. But ultimately, you know, part of the reason for that in the real park is because they don't want you thinking about money. They don't want you thinking about, you know, the real world. They want you to be immersed in the magic. And so we thought, it's not, why should we bother having players think about, oh, how much money do I have? What am I going to purchase? Just let them go crazy. Just get whatever they want. And let's not worry about limiting things. Let's just make this a big playground. You know, you have the park to yourself. Like, let's not be restrictive about it.
Yeah, it was funny for my Let's Play when I first got started. I'm like, okay, we're clearly playing someone whose rich uncle has rented the park out for us. Because there's nobody. There was a lot of discussion about the topic of crowds, and you know, in every aspect of this, we wanted it to be, what is the essential Disney experience? What can we do to make this the Disney experience? And a huge part of Disney is the crowds. It's not what everybody likes about it, but it is part of it. And so we thought, well, of course, obviously we're not going to do waiting in line for stuff, but, you know, it just feels, I agree, it does feel a little bit empty and eerie without crowds, but we discussed it a lot. There are over 750 unique entities in this. Yeah.
Plus duplicates of them. I mean, there's probably over 1,000, I don't really know. But at least 750. And there's a really cool dynamic entity loading system to keep like the performance down, the performance up. And so crowds would have just ballooned that even more. I mean, there's so much going on in this map behind the scenes that you don't see. Every time you go into another room in the ride, we hide a bunch of stuff that's going on behind you. So it was just not feasible to be able to have this run on older devices. If we do another theme park, and I've confirmed in the Minecraft Discord that we are currently working on another theme park of our own design. This is not a Disney thing.
Okay.
A fictional park that we're creating, and I want to look into possibly doing crowds there, but no promises. Because it feels like it's missing.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was a technical challenge.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it because you guys did such a wonderful job recreating these rides. You even created the waiting line areas, and it gave me that familiar feeling that when you are, because I like to go to theme parks on off season because you don't have to wait in huge gigantic lines. So running through those waiting line areas is kind of nostalgic for me. So it did still work. I understand that, you know, first time, deep down, when I first saw that, I said that, I was just joking. I knew why you didn't have crowds. 'Cause I'm like, that's just another thing to render that's going to mess with performance. So,
but also the question is, like, we absolutely could have done, like, small crowds, but I think that would have been worse than no crowds. Like, we could have had, like, 10 people in this whole area in front of the castle, but I feel like that's weirder than not having anybody. Because you would never have Disney that... Like, it would be weird to have just random people very far apart.
Yeah. Like I say, that's a one that's a little bit difficult, you know what I mean? I think you did a good job just taking them out, because it still works. It's still nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just said, some role play to it. Our rich uncle rented the park out for us, so, you know, forget those.
We should have made that part of the narrative, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been epic. Now, you did talk a lot about the rides and how there's so much going on in the background. So how did you guys manage to put together so much stuff with those rides? Because, like you said, there's got to be tons going on there.
That is the magic of Disney, my friend. That's with a little bit of pixie dust. No, it was a lot of work. We have, you know, a ton of amazingly talented artists. We had 4 or 5 devs on this project. Each dev was assigned another ride, and yeah, it was just a lot of this wouldn't have been possible without our internal map making tool, which is like a external development environment where we can code in a custom language. We have a timeline system so that we can sort of plan things out, sort of like a video editor on a computer. And so, yeah, it was just basically we started out with our park expert SP Ridley and our art director Ninja, basically watching hours and hours and hours and hours of videos online of all the rides, going through together, making giant spreadsheets of, okay, here's a list of every single one of the props we need, here are the dimensions of those props, like when we convert it into Minecraft sizes, here are any special animations we're going to need for them, here are any other notes about them, and, you know, assigning each of those rows of a different prop to a screenshot for references, and then SP Ridley going through and saying, all right, well, here's something that I know is going to be really important to Disney, here's something I know is going to be really important to fans, like, for example, the sign in the front when you first entered, the here you leave the world of whatever, I don't know if off the top of my head, but that sign, which maybe a lot of people won't notice, is really, really important to Walt Disney's vision for the park. And so that was very important to get in there. And so, yeah, just a massive, massive undertaking just in the planning alone. And then we began the work of just sort of, you know, grinding through each of the assets. Ninja worked on basically ride layouts. So we would take a picture of the block out of a ride from the top, like a slice of it, and then like a bird's eye view. And then she would label basically a number for each prop so that once everything was done, the developer could go in there, place every single prop with the tools that we have. To me, the most impressive part of this map really is all of the amazing tools that were created to actually be able to make it. Just for the developers alone, I mean, like, we have all sorts of neat tools to like move props around, to customize them, to, you know, snap them in place, to create the paths for the carts. Someday I'd love to show it off, but I don't know if we're going to. But yeah, it was just from every department, just this colossal team effort of making tools, doing spreadsheets, making new plans, and just grinding away at these lists. It's just fantastic what we were able to bring together.
Yeah, you guys did good. Shout out to Ninja, by the way. It was very fun having her on the show when we had you guys on for the Spotlight segment. She's an amazing artist and really good at her job. So just a quick shout out to her. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, you answered this in my comment section, but you guys, everything, including like for the Jungle Cruise, the commentary there, all that came from one of the ex-skippers, correct? For the Jungle Cruise. Yeah, so they vet their skippers very carefully. They, you know, it's a thing that a lot of, you know, struggling actors do in Orlando, is like, you know, they have to be trained in like the various jokes that are like recurring. They have jokes that they can sort of pick from as they go. There's also a lot of improv involved. You know, they'll comment on, you know, what you're wearing or, you know, what you're doing. And they talk a lot more in the real thing because obviously, you know, there's a lot more improv involved. But yeah, so we had, originally there was no voiceover in Jungle Cruise, and it was really, really boring. It was really boring. And we were pretty upset that we put all this work for the ride, and it felt so dead and so slow because there was no voiceover. And eventually, Disney agreed to have it recorded for us. I offered to do it, of course, but they said, no, it has to be like a real skipper. And they recorded for us with an ex-skipper, and we actually have a lot more lines that were recorded than actually made it into the map, but because we didn't have time to like randomize it or whatever. What would have been nice is to use it, all of the voiceover, so it was a different experience every time you rode, but we just didn't have time for that. So yeah, we just implemented it as best we could and chose the jokes that we think worked best. It's a shame they wouldn't let you do it. I don't understand. They could have just wrote a script and you could have done it. There's a lot of legal
complications in this whole map. There are a lot of legal things that you may notice. It's instrumental in the Tiki Room, and that, you know, they composed an instrumental version for us. There's, issues getting rights to voiceover, getting rights to music. There's a lot of stuff that went into it.
What is your favorite part of this map? What's your favorite section that you would like, you know, say, I love this part?
Well, obviously, my favorite part of this map is the fireworks show, because I worked on it. It was a dream come true for me. I've always wanted to make a fireworks show for Disney ever since I was little, and I got to. And it was just so much fun. It was amazing. So, Kyle composed a piece of music that was based on, or musically inspired by, the Happily Ever After show in the Magic Kingdom. And so you can map sort of each of the different musical styles to the different styles in the real show. But we were originally, it was going to be much longer, but we cut it at 5 minutes. And I basically went through, and first I created all the firework types that I knew I was going to want. And I created a really cool system to be able to customize the colors in our internal tool. And then I had Kyle export all something like 30 or 40 instruments into MIDI files. And then I basically, because music is complicated and there are undertones and overtones, I had to like cut out certain parts of each instrument track so that I got essentially the essential notes of each instrument. I placed a bunch of blocks right behind us, one for every one of like the 35 instruments. And I had it I wrote a script to generate a show where every single note on every single instrument track would spawn a tiny, small, fast firework on the block corresponding to the instrument. And I ended up with an absolute mess of a show. It was just so messy because there were so many notes. But I also had it like play a blast, a firework blast with each one, so I could get a sense of whether or not I got the rhythm right. So once I had that, I started basically whittling it down with a sculpting knife. I started to basically I had a file, a JSON file that I went through and said, okay, well, for this part of the music to this part of the music, only listen to the saxophone, and for this part to this part, only listen to the piano, and for this part, ignore anything from the drums, the drum kit that is below, you know, this number of hertz. In order to, and so I just sort of whittled it down over the course of a day or two, maybe 3 days, to the essential rhythm and the essential pops and melodies of the music. And once I had, what I should have done is I should have asked Kyle to plan this out in advance when he made the music. But oh well, it would have been even harder and more expensive. But so then I had basically the basic structure, and so I had a show that put a small firework on every block for each instrument to until I was like had something I was happy with. I feel like this is a nice number of fireworks, this is a nice cadence. Then I had already had all the placeholders for sounds. So then I went back through our timeline editor and replaced every single firework one by one with a new position, a new type of firework, and a new color. And then I had the basic outline for a show, which I then tweaked from there to make more interesting. And that is how that all came together.
Wow, I actually have not seen the fireworks show yet because I'm still going through my Let's Play series, and I was going to do that last. But to end our interview here, we could do the fireworks show, if that's okay with you, once it gets dark.
Well, and also the other thing is that you may notice in yours, it's not perfectly synced for everybody. You have to have a powerful machine to make sure that there's no lag. But I promise, if you have it on a powerful enough machine, it is exactly perfectly synced to the music because it's exported from the actual music itself. So,
well, when we get done with the interview, once it gets dark, we'll hit it. And that way we can end the interview with that. I have a pretty decent PC, so it should be good.
Okay. Anyway, you should still watch it in your Let's Play.
Oh, I will. Oh,
but
don't worry. I'm not gonna
but
not
aside
watch
from
Let's
tooting
Play.
my own horn here, I think one of the best parts of just in terms of like what the different departments have done, I think some of the most impressive texture work is the murals on, or like the embroidery work, pixel art on the inside of the castle when you walk through. That tells the story of Cinderella from John Roru, who's another fantastic pixel artist we have. The pirate ship in Peter Pan ride, that whole piece, which took like 11 hours to texture, just amazing. I'm a huge fan of the animation of Cinderella and Snow White, where you may not have noticed it. If you interact with the character again after the autograph, they have a bonus animation, and Cinderella has Gus Gus, the little mouse, come out, and Snow White has a bird land on her hand. Love that. Obviously, for the build, the castle is so fantastic. Everything is so, spot on and beautiful. For development, and also art as well, the Buzz Lightyear ride is just phenomenal. It's probably the most accurate of all the rides, because every single figure is in there. Nothing was cut, as far as I know.
Okay, cool.
And there's just so many cool effects.
That's over by Space Mountain, correct?
Yeah, there's so many cool effects and really nice details that you wouldn't notice, that you would notice if they weren't there. And just, yeah, there's just gorgeous, amazing stuff from everyone on the team. I just couldn't be prouder.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I definitely love it. Like I said, for the most part, the rides have been silent because of the copyright issue. But just looking at all the different textures that you guys added, like the Pirates of the Caribbean, the fog and the small ships in the background that you can see, I thought that was really cool, and I was racking my brain.
I think that ride in particular, which was designed by RPG Grenade, I think that is like a masterclass in atmosphere in Minecraft. Like that's how you do it. That's the best atmosphere I've seen in Minecraft.
Yeah.
And so after that ride, and the rest of the development team saw it, we were like, oh man, we should make better use of fog and stuff. Like we need to up our game. I also had RPG go back through in Space Mountain and the queue and add stuff in there, because that wasn't good enough in my opinion. It was just I'm so happy with how everything came out, and I'm so happy with the response so far.
Definitely definitely good response. Now, another question about the rides. What are we in the rides? Is that a minecart type thing that you guys have edited, or like how are we moving around like that?
So one of the things I was trying to explain in your comment section is marketplace partners and just Bedrock map makers in general rarely actually edit entities anymore. Like you mentioned, like, are the ghosts in Haunted Mansion like retextured villagers? That's like old tech that we used to have to do a couple years ago. We don't do that anymore because existing entities are too unreliable, and also at some point they're supposed to like no longer be supported. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Gotcha.
We make all of these things are custom entities, so they're built from the ground up, new behaviors and everything. So actually getting to do what we want isn't a challenge. It's making the models, the textures, and the animations. There's a whole bunch of really interesting tech behind the rides themselves, like I said, with the internal tools we have. So it's just an entity that is being teleported along a path that we created. But then on the fast rides, that was the biggest challenge of this entire map technically. And also I think the area I wish we could have done better in is that you can't teleport too quickly in an entity because then it starts to get jittery and it doesn't look good. So in the fast parts of the ride, so that's Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, Seven Dwarves Mine Train, and I think that's it. There's basically minecart segments where the entity that you're riding gets mounted onto a invisible minecart, and the minecart is hard-coded to have smoother motion. And so that's why on those rides you'll see a little like a little glitch, a little frame where it like turns to the side, because it's the cart mounting the minecart.
Yeah.
And then we sort of swap back and forth there, and unfortunately, as a result, it means that it's very jittery the way that it turns. But we interpolate that through animation, and just hopefully, there's going to be an update eventually where we can improve that.
like I said, it's not bad. You don't really notice it. It does, because you know the average ride like that is a little jittery on itself because it's snapping from track to track. So you kind of feels kind of natural a little bit with that jitteriness.
Mm-hmm.
So
Also,
like,
it's Minecraft, so I think we can be forgiven.
If somebody is gonna complain about that, you mean you're playing the wrong thing. Like at the end of the day,
Right.
you guys are taking the Minecraft engine and stretching it so to do what you need it to do. It's not gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? I think it's getting dark, so we have enough time to do the fireworks show. But again, thank you so much for joining me for this. I really had a good time. I love having these interviews with you. You interview really well.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love doing them.
I've actually got the privilege to interview a lot, and some of them, it's not the fact that they're bad interviewers. It's just I think they get nervous, and the answer you like. Yes.
Well, there's no need to put down other people, but yeah.
Oh, I'm not trying to put them down. I'm simply saying it's hard sometimes to get a good interview out because it's not easy sometimes for people to do these because they're a little bit nervous. And so it's good to have somebody that doesn't care. They're out there. They're able to have a good conversation. It just helps so much. But most importantly, I just loved getting a little bit more background about this map, which was truly impressed me.
Thank you so much. It's like absolutely highlight of my career so far.
Very, very good. All right, let's get this fireworks show going then. All right, so what do? We got to talk to somebody, don't we?
I want to see if you can figure it out.
Interact with cast member to start the firework. There is no... Ah, there he is over here.
Also, I highly recommend doing this in VR. It's pretty cool.
That looks really good.
I really underestimated we thought people were going to sit through a 10 or 15 minute show. I didn't realize that people were going to want to leave after 30 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the Disney fans obviously love it. But, the content creators who are like, I got stuff to do, will be like, okay, I'm going to go do something else while this is happening.
No, I love this. But then again, I love fireworks shows. So you did all these fireworks yourself?
Yeah, so like I said, I've always wanted to do a fireworks show for Disney, and it was just a dream come true to be able to do that. And to make it even better, we get feedback from the Disney Parks team on everything we do, and so it was really gratifying for me when we sent the first draft in to Parks, and they asked, who did we hire as a fireworks consultant, because it seems like this is a real Disney show, and that made me very happy.
Nice. Because I was going to ask you that. What did they say about it?
Yeah, they loved it, and that made me very happy. But like I said, this isn't about me. I'm very proud of what I've done here, but obviously there's so much more to this park,
yes.
And so many amazing contributions from our unbelievably talented team.
Very much so. Like I said, when I
that was a hidden Mickey that they requested. That one that was
I saw
just
that. That's cool.
That was the one piece of feedback they had on the fireworks. They said, "Can we add some more hidden Mickeys?"
I think you guys doing a theme park was a perfect match. Just the way you guys detail out your maps, I think that was perfect.
Thank you.
I think there's only one other theme park map that I actually really enjoy, and that was the one by Orville Studios.
Orville is extremely talented, yeah. I really enjoy their content.
Yes, I love those guys over there. They are one of the first studios I did a live stream interview with, them and Cyclone.
So like I said, you can see that a lot of thought was put into the colors and the placement of everything. and like I said, it's based on the different parts of this are based musically on the parts of the Happily Ever After show. So this part is based on, in real life now, it's not just fireworks. They also do projections on the castle, which are really cool, but obviously we couldn't do in Minecraft.
Yeah.
But these colors here, the red and green, are because of, it mimics the Brave section, which is what that was based on. This section here is based on Never Had a Friend Like Me from Aladdin.
Yeah.
But I went with yellow and purple to do Mardi Gras colors.
Because I've been to a live Disney fireworks show, and this is really, really close.
Thank you.
And then I'm happy. Yeah, I can definitely tell that it is in sync with the music. Fortunately, my computer was strong enough to play.
Yeah, from my end, it's working perfectly.
Yeah. Like
So I mentioned that I had this cool way of customizing the colors. Basically, just technical talk here, but it's essentially the only variable that you can query for that would like transfer into a particle easily is the coordinates. So unlike the 6th or 7th decimal place of where I summoned each one, I would encode the RGB values of each firework in the coordinates themselves. Unfortunately, for some reason on lower end devices, it couldn't keep up with the calculation. So I wrote a script to go through the show and create a new particle file for every variant of firework color and type. So there are like, I don't know, 125 different particle files for this.
Holy cow. You're a madman.
I didn't have to make them all by hand though, converted them all from the original.
It's truly amazing, dude. Like you said, you don't want to pat yourself on the back, but this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yay.
Well. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I just want to thank you that one more time. And
thank you very much for having me.
Any of you guys out there, if you have not picked this up, go pick it up now. It is 100% worth it. It's available right now on the marketplace. But for any reason you can't find it, make sure that I'll leave a link to Redstone Scientist. The Everbloom Games game list. It will be there so that you guys can check out this and a lot of their other content as well.
We also have an FAQ for this map specifically on our website. If you go to our website and click on the Walt Disney World map, there's an FAQ where, like, if something breaks or if you can't find one of the characters, you have a list of the characters and where they are. All that good stuff you can find on there as well.
I'll leave a link to their website as well. Okay, guys, so that you can check that out. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Redstone?
We got a lot of cool content. We've made over 60 things on the marketplace, and we got a lot more cool stuff coming, so please check it out.
Yes, and if you guys would like to check out, I've done a lot of their content on my show. I still have a playlist that's just their content, so check that out. And if you guys want to take a look at any more of their maps, make sure to go do that. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this interview, make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification. I plan on doing a lot more content like this with more people from my awesome studio here, Game Mode 1. I'm sorry, Everbloom Games.
Yikes!
I'm sorry. I talk to a lot of developers. Okay, give me a break. So just like that, if you guys like this content, make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button. All right, guys. Average Arcader out.